Hello, this is Roger Eberlin. I'm here to show you the procedure on how to replace the lamp on the GE UV900 and lubricate the monochromator as well. Okay, so once you get your monochromator assembly out of the UV900, this is what you have. You have a humidity meter here where you can put desiccant if you need it. And you have your board and your fiber optics. So this is your lamp assembly and this is your monochromator itself. Once you have it at this point, there will be two 7mm screws in here. They're difficult to get to. They're not hard to get out, but they're just difficult to get to. It's a little quarter turn at a time. And once you get those out, you go ahead and you work this loose. It's a nice machine fit. So this is your lamp module. It is what it is. It's this is a GE. You used to be able to source the UV lamps and just replace the internal lamp to this assembly and just use the whole thing over again. But I'm no longer able to source those lamps. So we can order these from GE or we can order them for Sontec, and you can contact me or we have the part numbers available for these. So, and once you get that done, you have a lens in here. This lens on the older systems will fall out. The UV light degrades the epoxy that holds this lens in. It will fall out. This is a fairly expensive piece of equipment. Go ahead and try and epoxy it back in. I've had it work most of the time. This particular one it didn't work, which is making a good training piece. So once you get that done, hopefully this didn't come out. You pull the lamp assembly off and then you turn it around, and then you have 2.5mm hex here, and under this ribbon cable there's another one. So you go ahead and pull all your electrical lines off, and we'll go ahead and get these off. Just takes a second. And we pull the board aside. And what you're left with is this assembly. So we have an area here where it needs to be lubricated. It's just a small bearing surface. Just a drop in there will work fine. And then we have, this is the black sleeve that I mentioned in the SOP. So you want to grab this black sleeve. You can't really, sorry, you got to pinch it from the front and back. Go ahead and pull that aside, and you manipulate this brass nut here. You turn it until this goes all the way out. I like to use super lube or Tri-Flow, or you can use machine oil, and just give it a little quick bead on these fine threads. And then I turn the screw back. I like to do it halfway so it can find home on its own when you turn it back on. And then you reinstall this sleeve here, which is difficult in this position. Hold on. I apologize for my belly. And I'm saying you have it back together there. So you have this lubricated and you have this bearing surface here lubricated. So you turn it to the side and you have this piece of foil tape right here. So you pull that off, and there's a bearing race in there with ball bearings. Go ahead and give that a little lubrication. Reinstall this foil tape. It may or may not stick. You might have to replace it with some lab tape or something along that line. Go ahead and do that. And then we're going to reinstall the board. And once you reinstall the board, then you can go ahead and you can put the lamp assembly back on. I like to take the lamp assembly and I like to install the screws in before I put it together. They're difficult to get in here once it's in the monochromator. You just don't have a lot of space. So go ahead and do that and tighten that all back up. I put it back in the UV900. Make sure that you only hand tighten the fiber optics. If you need to snug them up just a little bit, the fiber optic connector on the main board will break, and it's a very expensive board. Everything on this is very expensive. So go ahead and do that and put it back together, and I like to test it when it's out of the box. or out of the stack, and go ahead and plug it in, fire it up. It'll go through all its self-tests, and then you go to the maintenance screen, go in there, you get 1995, and then you go into this area. Okay, once you're in the service menu, go to light intensity check and reset. Go ahead and press that and go ahead and reset it. And then you go ahead and you perform the lamp intensity test, you perform the stepper motor test, the motor stress test, and the block filter test. I did not mention, I also did not put this back together, this portion here. So you have your aluminum tape here that's going to cover the ball bearing race. This is your block filter. There's no need to take this apart. Do not oil it. Lenses don't like that. But that's where it is. So you go ahead and you do your block filter test, and once all these are checked out okay, go ahead and reinstall the system within the stack, wire it up, plumb it up, and go ahead and safely install it back in the refrigerator. I have, on a side note, I have attempted to utilize help putting these in a refrigerator. That proved to be more dangerous than it was worth. We ran into trouble. There's just no room. We almost dropped the instrument. It was just terrible. And so it's easier for me, if somebody does help you, just have them hold the door. And what you do is you grasp it and just use your lower back and just lean back. You don't need to pick it up. Just use your legs and your waist. Just lean back. Don't try and be. They're heavy. Just lean back and just ease it in. And once you have it resting within the refrigerator, then you can manipulate it and you can install everything else that you need to install to get it connected to the computer. It's a fairly easy procedure. It's just a bit of heavy lifting, and it's not too bad. Well, that's it. Have fun.